Hey everybody. Hi, welcome back. It's day 92 and we're still reading through our Bible plan. Like, just go. We can keep it moving. Keep going through. We're in 2 Samuel still, and then we're gonna read chapters 19 through 21 today, and then hit up Psalms 92, and that should be today's reading. Encapsulated. Yeah, no devotionals, nothing special in the description, no links in there, so we can just really get into the reading. I know that we left off with David being in mourning that his son Absalom was killed, so he is going to, I guess, return home to his throne. Okay, Joab rebukes the king. Word soon reached Joab that the king was weeping and mourning for Absalom. As all the people heard the king's deep grief for his son, the joy of that day's victory turned into deep sadness. They crept back into the town that day as though they were ashamed and had deserted the battle. The king covered his face with his hands and kept on crying, "Oh, my son Absalom! Oh, Absalom, my son, my son!" Then Joab went to the king's room, and he said to him, "We saved your life today and the lives of your sons, your daughters, and your wives and concubines, yet you act like this, making us feel ashamed of ourselves. You seem to love those who hate you and hate those who love you. You have made it clear today that the commanders and troops mean nothing to you. It seems that if Absalom had lived and all of us had died, you would be pleased. Now go out there and congratulate your troops, for I swear by the Lord that if you don't go out, not a single one of them will remain here tonight. Then you will be worse off than ever before." So the king went out and took his seat at the town gate. And as the news spread throughout the town that he was there, everyone went to meet him. Meanwhile, the Israelites who had supported Absalom fled to their homes. And throughout all the tribes of Israel, there was much discussion and argument going on. The people were saying, "The king rescued us from our enemies and saved us from the Philistines, but Absalom chased them out of the country. Now Absalom, whom we anointed to rule over us, is dead. Why not ask David to come back and be our king again?" Then King David sent Zadok and Abiathar the priest. He sent the priest to say to the elders of Judah, "Why are you the last ones to welcome back the king into his palace? For I have heard that all Israel is ready. You are my relatives, my own tribe, my own flesh and blood. So why are you the last ones to welcome back the king?" And David told them to tell Amasa, "Since you are my own flesh and blood like Joab, may God strike me and even kill me if I do not appoint you as commander of my army in his place." Then Amasa convinced all the men of Judah, and they responded unanimously. They sent word back to the king, "Return to us and bring back all who are with you." David's return to Jerusalem. So the king started back to Jerusalem. And when he arrived at the Jordan River, the people of Judah came to Gilgal to meet him and escort him across the river. Shimei, son of Gera, the man from Bahurim, I need to stop getting caught up in the names. It's okay. And Benjamin Benjamin hurried across with the men of Judah to welcome King David. 1,000 other men from the tribe of Benjamin were with him, including Ziba, the chief servant of the house of Saul, and Ziba's 15 sons and 20 servants. They rushed down to Jordan to meet the king. They crossed the shallows of the Jordan to bring the king's household across the river, helping him in every way they could. David's mercy to Shimei. As the king was about to cross the river, Shimei fell down before him. "My lord the king, please forgive me," he pleaded. "Forget the terrible thing your servant did when you left Jerusalem. May the king put it out of his mind. I know how much I sinned. That is why I have come here today, the very first person in all of Israel to greet my lord the king." Then Abishai, son of Zeruiah, said Shimei should die, for he cursed the Lord's anointed king. Who asked your opinion, you sons of Zeruiah?" David exclaimed. "Why have you become my adversary today? This is not a day for execution, for today I am once again the king of Israel." Then turning to Shimei, David vowed, "Your life will be spared." So this was the guy who was cursing them as he left, if I remember correctly. I think I remember correctly. Let me go check. Let's go take a detour. That was day 91. So 16. Yeah, Shimei was the guy who was cursing David as he crossed the river, because he was like, "You killed so much of Saul's family. Basically, you killed a lot of my family, and you're a murderer." Blah 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 blah. So that sends us back to 92 and 19. So he shows him mercy by sparing his life. David's kindness to Mephibosheth. Now Mephibosheth, Saul's grandson, came down from Jerusalem to meet the king. He had not cared for his feet, trimmed his beard, or washed his clothes since the day the king left Jerusalem. "Why didn't you come with me, Mephibosheth?" the king asked him. Mephibosheth replied, "My lord the king, my servant Ziba deceived me. I told him, 'Saddle my donkey so I can go with the king, for as you know I am crippled.' Ziba has slandered me by saying that I refused to come. But I know that my lord, the king, is like an angel of God. But I know that my lord, the king." So he's talking of David. I know you, King David, are like an angel of God. So do what you think is best. All my relatives and I could expect only death from you, my lord, but instead you have honored me by allowing me to eat at your own table. What more can I ask?" "You've said enough," David replied. "I've decided that you and Ziba will divide your land equally between you. Give him all of it," Mephibosheth said. "I am content just to have you safely back again, my lord the king." Dang. Okay, so I was stuck yesterday because I was trying to figure out if Mephibosheth was sitting here betraying David's kindness and everything that King David had shown him and given him. But it seems like it was just a power play from his head servant to have his stuff or to garner property or whatever. So Mephibosheth, now having taken care of himself in terms of his trimming his beard, keeping up with his appearance, washing his feet, any of that, since the day since the day King David left Jerusalem, obviously that's months have passed, which is just was a way to show respect and mourning, I guess. Okay, So David's kindness to Barzillai. 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 Here. Here. How about I just do the sound thing again? Because I need it sometimes. Except I don't know how to bring that up here. No, 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 no.
Chapter 19. Joab rebukes the king. He was very old, about Barzillai of Gilead.
Barzillai. Okay. Barzillai of Gilead had. Okay, David shows kindness to Barzillai. Barzillai of Gilead had come down from Rogelim to escort the king across the Jordan. He was very old, 80 years of age, and very wealthy. He was the one who had provided food for the king during his stay in Mahanaim. Come across with me and live in Jerusalem, the king said to Barzillai. I will take care of you there. No, he replied. I am far too old to go with the king to Jerusalem. I am 80 years old today, and I can no longer enjoy anything. Food and wine are no longer tasty, and I cannot hear the singers as they sing. I would only be a burden to my lord the king. Just go across the Jordan River with the king. Sorry. Just to go across the Jordan River with the king is all the honor I need. Then let me return again to die in my own town where my father and mother are buried. But here is your servant, my son Kimham. Let him go with you, my lord the king, and receive whatever you want to give him. Good, the king agreed. Kingham will go with me, and I will help him in any way you would like. And I will do for you anything you want. So all the people crossed the Jordan with the king. After David had blessed Barzillai and kissed him, Barzillai returned to his own home. The king then crossed over to Gilgal, taking Kimham with him. All the troops of Judah and half the troops of Israel escorted the king on his way. An argument over the king. But all the men of Israel complained to the king. The men of Judah stole the king and didn't give us the honor of helping take you, your household, and all your men across the Jordan. The men of Judah replied, the king is one of our own kinsmen. Why should this make you angry? We haven't eaten any of the king's food or received any special favors. But there are 10 tribes in Israel. Ooh, 10? Benjamin gets this involved. Is the problem with the separation between them and Judah now? So then now there are 10 tribes in Israel? But there are 10 tribes in Israel, the others replied. So we have 10 times as much right to the king as you do. What right do you have to treat us with such contempt? Weren't we the first to speak of bringing him back to be our king again? The argument continued back and forth, and the men of Judah spoke even more harshly than the men of Israel. Okay, so then we're at 10 tribes of Judah now, or 10 tribes of Israel now, and that's why sometimes when I look up the tribe of Judah's information, it goes from 12 to 10, because there's a disembowelment or a separation, clearly. 2 tribes. I know Benjamin gets lost and separated from the tribe of Judah with a specific incident comes to mind, but I don't remember if it's expressed quite yet why Judah and Israel become separate entities. Okay, so the revolt of Sheba. There happened to be a troublemaker there named Sheba, son of Bichri, a man from the tribe of Benjamin. Sheba blew a ram's horn and began to chant, Down with the dynasty of David. We have no interest in the son of Jesse. Come on, you men of Israel, back to your homes. So all the men of Israel deserted David and followed Sheba, son of Bichri. Oh, but the men of Judah stayed with their king and escorted him from the Jordan River to Jerusalem. When David came to his palace in Jerusalem, he took the 10 concubines he had left to look after the palace and placed them in seclusion. It's your fault you left them there, girl. He placed them in seclusion. Their needs were provided for, but he no longer slept with them. So each of them lived like a widow until she died. Then the king told Amasa, mobilize the army of Judah within 3 days and report back at that time. So Amasa went out to notify Judah, but it took him longer than the time he had been given. Then David said to Abishai, Sheba, son of Bichri, is going to hurt us more than Absalom did. Quick, take my troops and chase after him before he gets into a fortified town where we can't reach him. So Abishai and Joab, together with the king's bodyguard and all the mighty warriors, set out from Jerusalem to go after Sheba. As they arrived at the great stone of Gibeon, Amasa met them. Joab was wearing his military tunic with a dagger strapped to his belt. As he stepped forward to greet Abishai, he slipped the dagger from its sheath. How are you, my cousin? Joab said, and took him by the beard with his right hand as though to kiss him. Amasa didn't notice the dagger in his left hand, and Joab stabbed him in the stomach with it so that his insides gushed out onto the ground. This is the same way he killed Abner. And Joab did not need to strike again, and Amasa soon died. Joab and his brother Abishai left him lying there and continued after Sheba. One of Joab's young men shouted to Amasa's troops, if you are for Joab and David, come and follow Joab. But Amasa lay in his blood in the middle of the road, and Joab's men saw that everyone was stopping to stare at him. So he pulled him off the road into a field and threw a cloak over him. With Amasa's body out of the way, everyone went on with Joab to capture Sheba, son of Bichri. Meanwhile, Sheba traveled through all the tribes of Israel and eventually came to the town of Abel Beth Makkah. All the members of his own clan, the Bichrites, assembled for battle and followed him into the town. When Joab's forces arrived, they attacked Abel Beth Makkah. They built a siege ramp against the town's fortifications and began battering down the wall. But a wise woman in the town called to Joab, listen to me, Joab. Come over here so I can talk to you. As he approached, the woman asked, are you Joab? I am, he replied. So she said, listen carefully to your servant. I'm listening, he said. Then she continued, there used to be a saying, if you want to settle an argument, ask advice at the town of Abel. I am one who is peace-loving and faithful in Israel. But you are destroying an important town in Israel. Why do you want to devour what belongs to the Lord? And Joab replied, believe me, I don't want to devour or destroy your town. That's not my purpose. All I want is the man named Sheba, son of Bichri, from the hill country of Ephraim, who was revolted against King David. If you hand over this one man to me, I will leave this town in peace. All right, the woman replied. We will throw his head over the wall to you. Then the woman went to all the people with her wise advice, and they cut off Sheba's head and threw it out to Joab. So he blew the ram's horn and called the troops back from the attack. They all returned to their homes, and Joab returned to the king of Jerusalem. Now Joab was the commander of the army of Israel. Ben Benai, son of Jehodiah, was captain of the king's bodyguard. Adoniram Adoniram was this Adoniram was in charge of forced labor. Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was the royal historian. Shiva was the court secretary. Zadok and Abiathar was the priest, and Ira, a descendant of Jair, was David's personal priest. Okay, so then that leaves us to 2 Samuel 21. David avenges the Gibeonites. There was a famine during David's reign that lasted for 3 years. So David asked the Lord about it. And the Lord said, the famine has come because Saul and his family are guilty of murdering the Gibeonites. So the king summoned the Gibeonites. They were not part of Israel. They were not part of Israel, but were all Ammonites. Are these the people that have a covenant vow? A vow with during during Jacob's time as leader of Israel, he made an accidental covenant with. He was deceived into making a covenant with a group of people. I just don't remember the name of the group of people. Okay. So because Saul went after them, the Gibeonites, there's now famine in the territory that lasted 3 years. And so David's trying to figure out what's going on, and he's trying to make this right so that the famine can pass. So the king summoned the Gibeonites. They were not part of Israel, but all that was left of the nation of the Amorites. The people of Israel had sworn not to kill them, but Saul, in his zeal for Israel and Judah, had tried to wipe them out. David asked them, so this is the people. David asked them, what can I do? What can I do for you? How can I make amends so that you will bless the Lord's people again? Well, money can't settle this matter between us and the family of Saul, the Gibeonites replied. Neither can we demand the life of anyone in Israel. What can I do then? David asked. Just tell me, and I will do it for you. Then they replied, it was Saul who planned to destroy us, to keep us from having any place at all in the territory of Israel. So let 7 of Saul's sons be handed over to us, and we will execute them before the Lord at Gibeon on the mountain of the Lord. All right, the king said, I will do it. The king spared Jonathan's son Mephibosheth, who was Saul's grandson, because of the oath David and Jonathan had sworn before the Lord. But he gave Saul's 2 sons, Armoni and Mephibosheth, whose mother was Rizpah, daughter of Aiah. He also gave them the 5 sons of Saul's daughter Merab, the wife of Adriel, son of Barzillai from Meholah. The men of Gibeon executed them on the mountain before the Lord. So all 7 of them died together at the beginning of the barley harvest. Then Rizpah, daughter of daughter of Aiah, the mother of two of the men, spread burlap on a rock and stayed there the entire harvest season. She prevented the scavenger birds from tearing at their bodies during the day and stopping wild animals from eating them at night. When David learned that Rizpah, Saul's concubine, had done, he went to the people of Jabesh Gilead and retrieved the bones of Saul and his son Jonathan. This is in parentheses. When the Philistines had killed Saul and Jonathan on Mount Gilboa, the people of Jabesh Gilead stole their bodies from the public square of Beth-shan, where the Philistines had hung them. So David obtained the bones of Saul and Jonathan, as well as the bones of the Gibeonites had executed. Then the king ordered that they bury the bones in the tomb of Kish, Saul's father, at the town of Zelah in the land of Benjamin. After that, God ended the famine in the land. Battles. She defended these bodies through the whole harvest season. Day and night she defended Rizpah, daughter of Anan, the mother of two of the men, spread burlap on a rock and stayed there the entire harvest season. She prevented the scavenger birds from tearing at their bodies during the day and stopped wild animals from eating them at night. When David had learned what Rizpah, Saul's concubine, had done, he went to the people of Jabesh and retrieved the bodies of Saul and his son Jonathan and all of the grandchildren that he was killed, and all of Saul's grandchildren that were killed that day, essentially. So all of the grandchildren and children, all of Saul's sons that were killed that way. Wow. Okay, so now I want to note this. That strong. Woman of the Bible. Okay, so then now we are at battles against Philistine giants. Once again, the Philistines were at war with Israel. And when David and his men were in the thick of battle, David became weak and exhausted. Ishbi Benob was a descendant of the giants. His bronze spearhead weighed more than 7 pounds, and he was armed with a new sword. He had cornered David and was about to kill him, but Abishai, son of Zeruiah, came to David's rescue and killed the Philistine. Then David's men declared, You are not going out to battle with us again. Why risk snuffing out the light of Israel? After this, there was another battle against the Philistines at Gob. As they fought, Sibekai from Husha killed Saph, another descendant of the giants. During another battle at Gob, Elhanan, son of Gair, from Bethlehem, killed the brother of Goliath of Gath. The handle of his spear was as thick as a weaver's beam. In another battle with the Philistines at Gath, they encountered a huge man with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in all, who was also a descendant of the giants. When he defied and taunted Israel, he was killed by Jonathan, the son of David's brother Shema. What? The son of David's brother Shimea. This is different from the Shimei who was cursing him, yes? Yes, by one letter, I and A. Understood. Let's see. Return to, return to where we began. Where did I leave off? Where did I leave off? Shema, yes, okay. So he was killed by Jonathan, the son of David's brother, Shemaiah. Whatever. In the parallel text, in a parallel text at First Corinthians 27, Hebrew reads Shimei, a variant spelling of Shemiah. Okay, so this might be the same person? Oh. It's like an ensemble cast and you can't keep all the characters together, like, clear in your head. Ooh. These 4 Philistines were descendants of the giants of Gath, but David and his warriors killed them. A song to be sung on the Sabbath day. Oh, I want this one. Okay, this is Psalm 92. It is good to give thanks to the Lord, to sing praises to the Most High. It is good to proclaim your unfailing love in the morning, your faithfulness in the evening, accompanied by a 10-stringed instrument, a harp, and the melody of a lyre. You thrill me, Lord, with all you have done for me. I sing for joy because what you have done. O Lord, what great works you do, and how deep your thoughts. Only a simpleton would not know, and only a fool would not understand this. Though the wicked sprout like weeds and evildoers flourish, they will be destroyed forever. But you, O Lord, will be exalted forever. Your enemies, Lord, will surely perish. All evildoers will be scattered. But you have made me as strong as a wild ox. You have anointed me with the finest oil. My eyes have seen the downfall of my enemies. My ears have heard the defeat of my wicked opponents. But the godly will flourish like palm trees and grow strong like the cedars of Lebanon. For they are transplanted to the Lord's own house. They flourish in the courts of our God. Even in old age, they will still produce fruit. They will remain vital and green. They will declare, the Lord is just. He is my rock. There is no evil in him. Okay, so that's everything, right? We read through it all. David's getting his kingdom back in order. I do feel bad for the concubines who were sent in seclusion to live as widows, because while it wasn't their fault that they were raped by his son, after being left behind, aka abandoned, pretty much abandoned. Like, your enemies are coming to take over your castle, so you leave all of your wives and your concubines there, wives of the king, who now lose all of their power and all of the honor and position that they hold because they are the wives of the previous king. For the new king who just rebelled against you to take over your castle, you've given them that space, and then you leave the wives there instead of sending them to somewhere safe to look after the castle. I don't know royal etiquette, but that don't feel right. So, like, you couldn't send them away somewhere safe to protect your concubines from the sexual defilement they would have faced. I mean, you didn't know, but you could have probably, you knew because it was told to you that that's what would happen. Ah, man, I know he had to leave it. I know he had to leave them because it was said that other men would sleep with his wives in the public view, but like, then to return home and to treat them like widows, yes, with your discarded possessions. It irks me. It irks me. But anyway, he's returned home and he's clearing up he's getting his affairs in order. I don't like Joab. I've never really liked Joab since he killed Abner, and I didn't understand how he got all of he killed Abner, him and his brother was cursed, and they still got such hefty positions of power and honor. I didn't understand how they had a place in at David's side, because it was already clear that they couldn't follow David's orders to a T. So now they've taken another life, a cousin of theirs at that, and yeah, and we can tell that David is losing power and strength, his ability to fight back. He's losing that ferocity he had when he first killed giants. When he killed Goliath, he was cornered and almost killed by a giant. Like for him to go from killing a giant with a stone and a sling to being cornered with out in the field. Firstly, killing a giant alone with a rock and a sling in God's favor, and then being cornered out alone on the battlefield by a descendant of a giant to nearly die. That's a big, like, juxtaposition, and then, yeah, I mean, all of the rebellion, all of the arguments, I just see pride in that. There was a lot of pride. So it's just leading to more and more battles and death. And that's what these chapters were. God, I come to you humbled and bowed on a day of rest and restoration. I ask that you work deeply in the word. You work deeply in my spirit. You work deeply through my mind. You work deeply in helping me decipher my emotions, and that you come and provide clarity nearly every time I am steeped in your presence. You provide me with the clarity I need to make wise decisions through every decision, to make a wise choice that is aligned with your will. I won't always get it right, but I know I will get it with you by my side. And I know that your love is unfailing and your forgiveness is nigh everlasting. So I am thrilled to the core to be calling myself your child. And God, I ask that you continue to provide peace and serenity. That even though there are lots of ups and downs, some unknown circumstances, some up in the air futures, that even though I don't understand the path that is laid out before me, I understand no matter what, I'm with God. It is the strength of faith that I shield myself with. It is my strength of faith that I continue to stand and be present and fight and go through the day and recover from the wounds and recover from the licks and just take the strength of character that I am trying to instill in myself, so that it is a character that pleases you, Lord. Help me. Provide me with insight. Provide us with insight every time we are up. We face a decision that leads us to a fork in the road. Every time we face a decision that tests our character, I hope that we choose to stand with you in a way that is pleasing to you, Father God. We know that the choices are two. Stand with the Lord or stand with the world. Stand with the Lord, stand with the world. And we make those decisions repetitively throughout our lifetime, throughout our days, throughout our moments, throughout our thoughts. We make these decisions. I ask that the Spirit moves within us every time we come to a decision. Stand with God or stand with the Lord. Stand with God or stand with the Lord. So that we can stand with the Lord on a rock in courage, without doubt, without fear, without worry, in full serenity, that you will power us through everything that we face. of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. Alright, y'all. Peace be with you. And, have a good day. Bye-bye.